The structure was beginning to let its light shine. It was becoming less ugly as time traveled by. 6 back-to-back days of work had been completed, and then he rested on the seventh day. He knew that he was beginning to attract new attention. He knew that she was beginning to attract new attention from the onlookers. She had been primed, uh, some 80 something percent, and even painted. 2 coats of paint at where would be an accent wall. The new the new masonry done on her was really bringing out her beauty. As he looked at her, he felt proud of his accomplishments. His demeanor seemed to say that it was good. Yet again, God had given him directions as when to rest off from the project, and also shown him step by step what he was going to do and when. It barely made sense to me, but it was working. I am talking about all those random actions that always piece together so perfectly. I felt a call, but I was busy trying to resist going to bed that early. I knew I was in a fight and I did not want anyone to take credit for sending me to bed. But the call was constantly coming in like an SOS and I could resist no longer. That night I was choked out. I was decked out in all red, sorry. A red kit minus the shoes because the only place I would physically be going that night would be at the corner of Wall and Bed Avenue, which was located no longer than a second walk away and less than a meter in distance from where I sat. Normally, I would strip down to my boxers and mm, and slip something. I guess it's under, right? This sheet that I always use as a cover. I always use as a cover. Jesus had told me that I was not taking off my clothes tonight, and I was too tired to argue with him. By Jesus, I mean the creator of everything, also known as my God. I know you fags may have been getting heated. Earrings on my watch, on my wrist, on my left wrist. I was cold out in less than hours. Hours had passed, less than right. Hours had passed, and I found myself caught between two realms, where I saw 4 doves from heaven behind the last building on our compound. They were walking about in the area that I always hung my clothes. Well, I always hung my clothes. We fix all those things. I was having a vision, and I knew that it was a great sign from Jesus. By the way, the kit I was sleeping in was all red. I knew that my obedience was paying off and that major blessings were already here. Next, I awoke and saw a spirit rush past my window at about 100 miles per hour. I think he was running, but because his speed was that quick, my mind repented of using the term run because it could not recall ever seeing anyone run that fast. He passed with a presence as though to threaten me. Plenty speed, I thought, but all of that action was outside. He knew way better, and I as well. So I turned my head and went back to sleep. Sometime later, I was attacked in my sleep by a spirit, which was it the same spirit? I doubt. This one had permission um, of the master, of the test giver, to do exactly that, and we all know he failed. I don't fucking fail. I was trying to, he was trying to scare me. He pinned me down and was attacking me. I was on my belly and my face to the left. He was to the right and a meter away from my feet, but that was his distance back from me. I was fighting to see him and brace him, and he kept me at bay and in a position where my body acted as though it was in a coma. I willed and willed, but he was too strong, so I only got my head to lift off of the bed and turn a bit. When I when I realized I resisted his power, I let my head, I could not resist his power. I let my head returned to its original position. Of course, my only intention was to trick him and return with so much momentum and force that I would break through his claws. When I did, he disappeared like a coward because he knew I could cut off his fucking tail. You know, cowards take flight until I cut off the fucking tail. Right. This was not the end, however. Later that night, I was tested again. This time, my breathing was being held up, and I guess he expected me to throw in the towel. He was a demon, and he knew who I was. And this time, the duel was even shorter. I went back to sleep like nothing even ever happened. All true, no lie, no fiction. Let's go. There is this idea that one must travel through the tunnel and reach the lights at the end. Not him though, he just had to continue becoming the beam, continue becoming and beam his light so bright that the darkness would be eradicated. He often saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and he often questioned himself. He wanted to know, with all this growth, why the tunnel never seemed to end, why the light always looked so far off. He was not supposed to reach any light. Actually, there was no light at the end of the tunnel. It was all an error of understanding. He was chasing ghosts. He was the light, and the light wasn't him. He just had to learn this and keep on becoming. He was right where he needed to be. It was his time to make that 375 and that 401 not out. Everything was working for him. It could do nothing else but that. It's interesting how powerful knowledge is. We run to what does not exist. We run from what does not exist. And we seldom see that we got all that we ever need or will ever need. Doing less is actually doing more. This opens the creative doors and windows within us. When we understand who we are and what we must do, it suggests that we have reached the appointed time for such knowledge. Having attained this knowledge, God is now ready to take us to a different level. He asked Jeremiah in Jeremiah chapter 1, "What seest thou?" When the Master Builder asks us these question types, he is allowing us to see how ripe the time is and how ready we are for harvest. Friends come and go. Jobs come and go. Money comes and goes, and so it is with many things. However, we remain. We become our very own constant factor, and what happens is that we can be caught in the delusion of the dog trying to catch the tail, or be too busy looking for the next fix, trying to catch the next high, the next outside thing that would give us the distraction we are so, in brackets, needing. Needing. Quotation marks needed. Being still and knowing who is God allows God to freely flow through a person and helps one to understand that there is a reason for everything. Since all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and to those who are the called according to his purposes, then despite what is going on, it must be working for the good of those special and favorite ones to God. He then questioned himself as to what he was missing, not materialistically, but what did he not understand from his current situation. The moment he understood that the tunnel was an illusion and there was nothing to escape, it's as though a light went on. The fact, however, is that the light went on and then he got this revelation. He knew he could not be him without every single thing being as it perfectly was, and if things seem not to be changing on the outside, although they will, that he must go within and shine without. He had to continue to create his bubble around him. What shines so bright is a fuse being lit, and the same bubble shape of the bulb that actually creates a bright room. It would take some getting used to, because it is way easier to say something than to do it in most cases. What can I do? What more can I do? He felt stuck while moving because he was waiting for results on external things. Nothing was wrong with that. But the moment waiting on results supersede becoming, during the waiting period, was the exact moment that the process and journey were being totally misunderstood. You're winning and winning and winning. That's all you do. He heard those words over and over, and he knew Source was just keeping him focused on what really mattered while encouraging him simultaneously. Sometimes we hold on to more than we need to. Sometimes we have actually achieved more than we think we have. It is only while looking back and contemplating where we have come from where we began to clearly see what the truth looks like. He thought that every page had to be filled with answers to life and expressions which he would like to share. But life always has those spaces of ignorance where we are blanks as to what is going on, where there is a blank page in our chapter, where when others come across, they ask, what happened here? It becomes a place of high attention. It becomes the art on the wall in the art gallery that all is bursting their minds to explain. It reminded him of the space between Malachi and Matthew, where God went silent and we can only guess what was happening. We do not know it all, neither do we need to. Is not this great and grand news? I do not have all the answers, and there is absolutely no pressure on me to have them. Knowledge do lead a person to levels of freedom that money could never buy. Time being still did help in unveiling some of the deepest hacks of life. Instead of dressing up and going out, he was dressing down and going deep within. As layers of bushels began being removed, light was automatically piercing through the once gloomy atmosphere. The end of part 1 of I've Always Wanted to Be You by David Timothy.